Make sure you like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon. Hello, and welcome to Let's Sip and Talk with Freema. So today I'm in my vehicle. I do apologize, but mommy duty calls sometimes. Anywho, I hope everyone is having a great Tuesday. Normally we do it on Wednesdays, but we're doing it on Tuesday today. So I hope you guys have a great Tuesday and a great rest of your week. We have a great guest on today, Landon Buford. He's actually an interviewer as well. He interviews celebrities, he interviews for sports and all those good things. But what's so different about him? He is an independent reporter. So y'all know what I always say. I like to dig in people's brains and kind of figure out how they got started and, just sharing knowledge. And that's what we love to do. Without further ado, let's bring Landon on. Hello.
How are you?
I am fine. How are you today?
I'm well. Thank you for having me on.
Thank you for coming on. I really appreciated you sharing the time out of your busy schedule to come on. Let's Sip and Talk with Freema. So, Landon, for the ones that's not familiar, can you give us a little background of you, please?
I actually got started as passing out CDs for a friend of mine, and went into kind of the blog game. I started off with a couple places like jackfiller.com, DJiceberg.com, Respect Magazine, and Hype Magazine, and took some of that stuff, those opportunities, and parlayed it into not only interviewing celebrities, up and coming artists, in all types of fields, and then parlayed that into getting NBA and WNBA credentials.
Okay, well, that's amazing. Do you remember your first interview? Do you remember how that felt?
First interview?
How long have you been doing this, Landon?
About 5 or 6 years now.
Okay.
So my first interview, actually, yeah, I do. My first interview was with a guy by the name of Maestro. He actually did some work with Michael Jackson and Prince. So he actually got a chance to play, I think, Michael's last concert at the Garden before he stopped touring. And that was not too long before he passed away. He's did a performance with, I think, Around Purple Rain. I don't. It's been so long that I don't remember if he actually got a chance to perform it in front of Prince. But yeah, that was my first interview.
Were you a bit nervous, not just because it was your first, but because he was affiliated with such big legends? Did you let that nervous you a little, or you took it like a champ?
I think, because it's so long ago, I don't think I was nervous, because I don't have any problem talking to people. Mm-hmm. I think it was just trying to get the questions in order of the way I wanted to actually speak on those particular questions.
Okay. Now, do you see yourself, would you call yourself an interviewer, or I don't know exactly what terminology you would say, reference yourself as, but do you see you doing this like 5 more years, 10 more years, or what do you see yourself doing in the next 5 to 10 years?
I think I'll always have some type of interviewing, situation going on, but I'm really trying to transition into the next step. Because, obviously being independent, and then also the industry is dying, as we all know too. So, we got to all figure out how we're going to transition into the next thing. Obviously, you have other entities like Clubhouse that give you access to celebrities as far as, for content and stuff like that. Make sure you cite whatever rooms you're using, because a lot of people are stealing stuff and not actually getting credit for that stuff. But I can see myself doing that. I could, see myself getting in on a producer side of things behind the scenes, because obviously topics that I know and study and things can actually. I say it all the time. Anything I write or anything that I ask has the capability of going viral. It doesn't matter what it is. I just feel that way, because right now I'm actually asking questions to actually get things to go viral. So I'm thinking in that way. It's not just like any, I'm just coming up with this stuff out of you. I'm actually going in these interviews like I'm gonna ask this, and if it doesn't hit, it doesn't hit. But I'm actually going into those particular things to focus.
To go viral, to out there. Okay, I never even thought of it that way. So, what would you tell the little Landons? What would you tell an individual that want to, be that big interviewer, independent reporter, interview celebrity? What would you tell a little Landon? Someone that want to be in your shoes?
I would tell them that to start in their own communities. Don't always chase after the big interviews at the beginning, because it doesn't always happen for you like that. But try to get in as far as interview some of your friends. If you're at college, interview some of the local pro athletes. If you're there. If you're younger than that, try to, if your parents know people, try to get them to link you with those individuals to try to get stories starting up. Don't always look for the big publications either. Take if you're still in high school, take the time to do all the free labor and stuff like that then, instead of actually trying to get it while you're out of school, because like I said, this industry's dying and people they're not looking to, pay you right away. Right. So you got to have a resume, and even with people with the resume, they don't they're not, unless you're into these inner circles, they're not picking you up on a regular basis. Let's just put it that way. So get all your free work and labor done if you're under 18, in the summer, or when you have free time during when you're not working on schoolwork.
Okay, well, that was good feedback, Landon. I do have one other question for you. When you started out, or even now, do you get any pushback? Do you get any like, I don't know if I want to do the interview, and does that discourage you any, or that just makes you go harder?
I gotten pushback. I got declined for a story, for a WNBA story. I'm not going to mention the couple publications, but I got pushback from them because it involved a couple companies that didn't want to tell their story. So I'm not going to mention the companies either, but they just said that they couldn't pick up the story. So I get pushback all the time. I've worked for a number of publications. Just because you work for the publication doesn't mean your editor is going to pick some of that stuff up. So that's it is what it is when it comes to that. It might not fit the publication. It might not fit the editor style of thing. They might not understand it. You know what I mean? Not everybody is what's the word I'm looking for? They're not always up to date of what's going on. Right. They also don't, they're not familiar with where you're coming from, No. So, most of the contributors are doing all the work anyway. So, they're just saying yes or no on most of this stuff. Like, if you look at some of their bylines, they haven't written in 2 years. So, you know what I'm saying? So we get pushback all the time, but that's another reason why once I left my last publication, I had no problem, picking my stuff up. Before I left, even before I started, I had my own publication. It's just I took a break for 6 months because I got wound up in the check that was coming in. But it is what it is.
It is what it is. You're right.
Pushback with whatever you do when you're not working for yourself. Let's just put it that way.
Now, as an independent reporter, what exactly does that entail? That means you're not working for an actual, would it be like some type of a channel or station or something? Does that mean you're not working for anyone as far as finding your people to interview? You put in all the legwork. Is that what Is
Yeah,
this your
I put it on the legwork. Even when I was at these publications, I put in all the legwork. When I was at Hype Magazine, since I mentioned it, I think all the interviews that I got was off of me, basically me going out of the box. They didn't sign me my Kenny G interview. I wouldn't got that myself. I wouldn't got my Daymond John interview. I actually was trying to interview his his CEO of his company, and he was like, "Nah, go ahead and interview Daymond." That was just off of a DM on Instagram. Doesn't always work like that, but it just happened for me that way. But yeah, I mean, most of the stuff I've made connections with some of these publicists, which is a lot easier for certain things. Or I've done cold calling until I can get some of these people to actually come on my to get an interview with them at some point.
Okay, well that's interesting. That's good. So, what give you the drive? What gives you the oomph to go out there and get these interviews? What do you wake up, and say, you know what, I want this person, I'm going after them. What gives you that drive, Landon?
I mean, at the beginning, I was like, I wanted to see if I can actually do it or not. Just to see how how, I don't want to say easy, but how difficult it would be to get to some of these people. Also build a relationship with some people. When I started getting people that I wanted on a regular basis, I would just say, hey, let me see if I can get this person. Let me see if I can get this person. If it is, I mean, it's accomplishment. And you can go, move on from there. But I mean, not everybody that I've reached out to, I've gotten a yes from. So I mean, I think I've only turned down. I mean, literally had a person on the phone during right before a movie came out, and I actually said I'm not gonna publish this person.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh wow. How do you and you don't have to answer this if you don't like,
Yeah.
but how do you determine, is it because of the content you received? You feel it wouldn't go anywhere, or it just wasn't enough for you to actually publish it?
Oh, you mean the when I didn't publish it?
Or
The interview.
just in general, kind of
Okay.
what caused you not to publish something?
I mean, I'm not feeling it in that particular case. I think the person was actually he felt, well, the person's ego was bigger than what he was at the time.
Okay.
Was to say he was playing, the person was playing a character that we knew worldwide. I'm not going to say the name of the person, but the person was getting ahead of himself
I
prior
understand.
before the movie was to come out, and nobody knew who he was at the time. Let's put it that way.
I totally understand. I totally understand. Landon, I don't want to keep you too long because I know you're very busy. I just really, really, from the bottom of my heart, appreciate you taking the time out to come and just talk with me a few minutes. So I really appreciate that. Is there anything else that you would like to put out there in the atmosphere, or anything in general that you'd like to say before we end the segment?
I mean, if you want to go longer, I'm okay with it. I don't have anything do for the next hour or so, so I'm good if you want to keep going.
Hey, I just didn't want to hold you up too long
No,
because
I just got a couple articles to write, but I can write that stuff later. That's
oh
no big
wow.
deal.
So is that something when you write your articles and stuff? I know you probably have to do your research. I don't know, but is this something that just comes to you? Do you feel like this is your passion, your calling?
Yeah, I mean, depending on what what I see. I mean, I'm not always interviewing people, so I got to go and grab content from people that are, that I see, and come with a, I guess you could say the tidbits to go around whatever the quote is or whatever they're talking about to get my thoughts together. But as far as writing, I mean, it's just on feel, because sometimes, like, I just don't feel like writing, and obviously when you're independent, you can do that, but when you're at a major publication, you have to write. Like, it's if you want to get paid on a regular basis, you have to figure out a way to push through things.
Oh wow. Okay. It seemed like this is a kind of, and coming from somebody who's trying to do it, or I'm say doing it. I'm not going to say try. Um, Look at Alan. Landon, what questions you have got for Freema? Is she starting correctly, getting into the field of interviewing things? And it's so funny. Before you answer that, Landon, it was on the tip of my tongue to ask you that, but something said, no, Freema, don't ask. But since Alan put it out there, what tips can you give me just from this interview? And then coming from someone that's been in the industry, way longer than I have, what tips would you give me just based upon what we did today?
I mean, I think you're fine. You ask the questions that you want to ask. I mean, like, for me, if I don't want to ask it, I'm not going to ask it. I mean, you're obviously, I feel like you're doing well. I don't really have any, tips, because I do it on just emotion. You know what I mean? Like, there's no certain way that you can do this, ask questions anymore. Like, and it's your show, so you're going to take it in any direction that you want to. So, I mean, you're doing this independent. It's not like you have a person in your ear saying that, oh, you need to ask this, or it's not going to be a what's it called. So in my opinion, I mean, if you're doing your own thing and you don't have a producer that's doing the content, you're coming to the table with questions that you want to ask the people. You know what I mean? And then, like he said, if your executive producer has a question that they want to ask, the person's can either answer it or not answer it. So for me, I mean, I do it based on feel. Like, if there's certain times that I'm sitting in some of these Zoom calls with the Mavericks, right? Mm-hmm. And I know that how some of the temperaments of some of the players or some of the coaches, I'm not going to ask this one, I'm not going to ask anything today.
Right.
I might not get the question off, or, depending on the mood of the person, you don't want to make the person angrier than
kind of fill them out.
Yeah, you want to fill out the situation first. So, I mean, for me, I mean, I don't have any advice. I mean, based on feel.
You could have said anything way worse, and critique me really bad. But thank you, Landon. I appreciate that.
No problem. I mean, if I saw something, I would tweak it. But I don't see anything that needs to be improved. You're coming up with your own questions. This is your show. I mean, so. And you're coming up with questions based off of what what you feel like asking. So, I mean, there's no critiquing in that.
Look, I'm doing it a slick way, huh?
Yeah. It's the first where I've actually had an interviewer actually interview me in their car. But other than that, I mean,
and see, that's what I mentioned. I told Alan, I said, Alan, I think I'm gonna be in my car when I do the interview. He's like, that's okay. We have to do it. So I appreciate that. So yeah, that's the only thing. Normally I'll be at my little setup at home, but I'm inside the vehicle today, so I do apologize about that.
You're fine. You know what? Now I know how it feels when people are in the car and I'm interviewing them. So I mean,
So look, now the table's turned. So just real quick, if you don't mind me asking, what are some other big time interviews that you were capable of doing?
You mean like that I've done, or you think that I could actually do?
You've done already.
I've interviewed Mark Cuban. I mean, 2 years ago, I didn't think that was going to be possible. Or not 2 years ago, 3 years ago, when I started with the Mavericks, I didn't think that was going to be possible. I've interviewed Dwyane Wade. I've interviewed Chris Paul. I've interviewed Kenny G. I've interviewed, who else have I? Daymond John. I've interviewed Lee Greenwood. Who else have I? Emmitt Smith. Who else? It's a long list. Walter Jones, Sue Bird, Lauren Jackson. Dirk. I think I mentioned Dirk Nowitzki. Aaron Gordon. Nate Robinson. I mean, there's a long list of people
that's amazing. I'm so happy that you are still accomplishing, and just moving forward and even sharing the knowledge with me. How do you get ready for your interview? Is there something that you do in particular when you have to interview someone to get ready, or you just kind of roll with the flow?
No, I'm sitting up. Maybe I think the last person I interviewed, I was up till not just I did some research last minute, but I bounced some questions off my mom in regards to certain things on depending on what the topic is. I try to obviously go research and see what they're already talking about, what's already being said about what said person, unless I just know what I'm going to ask this person, right? Yeah, sometimes really the night before, a couple of days prior, I like to sit down and actually think about what I want to ask this person. It's not just going to be for I mean, of course, it's going to be a little bit of clickbait because you want to get those hits. You know, when you're working off of ad clicks and stuff like that. But for the most part, I'm either sitting down studying, or I'll call a friend up and say, hey, what do you think about this question? Do you have any questions for this person, or vice versa? If a friend of mine, some of my friends have questions for me to ask, like, hey, ask about this. This is really buzzing in here, whatever it is. Ask this question, or ask to get a response for this particular thing, or whatever it is. So it just
look. I just wanted to pick your brain a little bit because I know Al's probably in the background, like, yes, that's what you need to start doing, Freema. So I'll start doing a little better because I don't do a lot of research, because I find myself trying to visualize what I've already seen. What Alan said. See, I knew it. Is it good to research a person just to get a general idea on what to ask, even if you're off the brains of asking questions, just to give the person you're interviewing? Okay, I knew he was going to go there, didn't I?
That's you have to, because you got to come up with some substance, unless like that other situation I was telling you, like if I want to, basically if I'm interviewing somebody that is playing somebody, right? Not only am I going to want to, if we don't know you, then but we know the person you're playing, we can do the research. We know what that person has done, but we want to know if especially if you're new, about you as a person. How did you handle this role? How is this? How does this person relate to you in some ways?
You
know what I mean? Like the public want to know about you as a person, not only you as the actor and stuff like that. So what are some of the things you like? I know you're aware you play video games in your free time. What are you playing right now? Stuff like that. So
Alan, okay, look, because I was taking it there before he even put the question up there. So we're on the same page. So that means Freema tighten up. I get it. I will. But Landon, I don't want to keep you too long. And plus, I'm in the car. So again, thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate this. Hopefully we can, do this sometime in the future, or maybe, and I'm going to say, no, I'm not.
The flip side where I interview you instead of the other way around.
Hopefully I'll be up there soon where you guys are at, and you'll be able to interview me.
No doubt.
Okay, thank you so much. And as we always say on Let's Sip and Talk with Freema, peace and love.
Peace and love.